Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and this is October 12th, 2024. We're at the Legend at Pope Lick. They are having their second annual Goatman Festival. This to me is just a little bit outside of Louisville. It's technically in Louisville, I think. But if you're coming from Lexington, you don't have to go all the way into downtown to get there. And this was a free event. Of course, I really like what the Legend at Pope Lick is doing. Please go by there, buy a t-shirt, buy some cool stuff. They've got cool stuff. If you're into cryptids, it's a cool place to go. And for this festival, they had some great vendors here too, including this person. They brought their 3D printer with them. I enjoyed watching that. They had some really cool items, including some little toys as cheap as $5 that were pretty cool. And of course, the festival, you could find t-shirts, stickers, patches, whatever you really want with Bigfoot, Mothman, Goatman on it. You could find it here. Very casual, not a crazy crowd. Very family-friendly event. They had some swings and play sets. This was really cool. I was here myself to see some authors and to talk to some people. Ended up talking to the Battletown Witch people. Battletown Witch Festival is coming up here in a couple weeks. By the time you see this, it will probably already have passed. But they're expecting 70 or so vendors. And it's looking to be a really cool event. And they had some free flyers about Leah Smock, who supposedly was a witch burned in Battletown. And very interesting story. I'm glad they're having a festival now. It's great that Kentucky's got some cool festivals going on. Of course, you've got Mothman and the Bell Witch Festival going on outside of Kentucky. Kentucky now has the Goatman Festival, and there's a Bigfoot Festival, and they've got the Battletown Witch Festival. So I was glad to talk to those people. And then I also talked to Geraldine Sutton Stith, who is the descendant of the family involved in the Kelly Hopkins, Kelly Goblin encounter, Little Green Men of Kelly encounter, whatever you want to call it. Very sweet lady. I've talked to her several times. She's written a few books. And, her family and everybody involved in that, they've stuck to their story with no variation. And to me, it's one of the more credible strange creature / UFO encounters out there. And yeah, and they are planning on doing Hopkinsville is going to take over the Little Green Men Festival. Geraldine was selling some really cool figures that they had made based on the Kelly Green Men. I also talked to author J. Nathan Couch, and I taped our conversation. So here's a little bit of that.
All right. Well, this is a vintage horror movie magazine. Yeah. And there are cards here if you'd like to know more about the magazine. And they have a merchandise shop too, which is right here. It's all kinds of cool stuff. And the books are mine.
Okay. And what's the Washington County? Is it?
That's in Wisconsin. That's where I'm living. I drove down for it. It's written in such a way that you don't have to be from the area to understand it. But if you do ever, for some reason, wind up in Washington County, Wisconsin, there's driving directions to get you there. It's kind of a road guide.
I did all of the illustrations, and kind of what I wanted to do was take a look at some of the common or popular legends associated with the winter holidays, and then compare them to phenomena that are still being reported today. So an example of that would be the wild hunt, right? So there are many different iterations of the wild hunt, ranging from Odin leading spectral warriors to Frau Perkta and her parade of dead children. Now, if you look at the wild hunt, it does have similarities to other things. Well, actually, I should mention a third iteration, and that is the Asgard's Grave, which is sort of a parade of little people who come from underground. And so when you look at these different iterations of the wild hunt, they're all associated with the winter holidays. So anytime throughout, you will, usually around Christmas Eve, of course, because those are the popular holidays at this point. there are commonalities between those stories and things people report today. So, for instance, there was a relatively, I think, well known at the time, at least among people who are into stuff like this, UFO flap of anomalous orange and orangish red lights of Christmas Eve to Christmas several years ago. And it's interesting to me to look at and that's part of what inspired this actually, to look at all of the similarities between events like that and the wild hunt. So, for instance, one of the things that people would say about the wild hunt is if you encountered it, you might experience missing time. They didn't use that phrase specifically, but it was, people would
If anyone is
wake up.
interested in the seminar on the Hopkinsville Goblin, it is about to start in about 1 minute. Right inside the room here, back door or through the gift shop.
Good to know. And everybody should be interested. I'm sure it'll be great. But yeah, so like, one of the things that can happen if you encounter one of these wild hunts, right, is, maybe you would be spirited away and wake up miles from where you encountered it with no idea how you got there. And so there are all of these like corollaries between the UFO phenomenon and things like the wild hunt. But it's not just that, Do stories of the Yule cat come from anomalous big cat sightings? Is it possible that, considering where we are here, stories of, Krampus or, what was that witch's name? I always forget. No, the other one. So we had with the Yule lads.
No, Rula.
Yes. Is it possible that, Drula or Krampus or any of those types of legends have been influenced by, Sheep's Watch or the West Virginia White Thing, I think is what we're calling it now, or Goatman?
Yeah.
To speak of that, since we're already here, when you look at not just the similarities in appearance, but sort of the similarities in what people describe in terms of like behavior. Even if all it represents is folklore and the proliferation of stories being passed down over generations, there are still a lot of really interesting similarities. So that's kind of what I was.
Cool. You sold me. Yeah, so I'll definitely take a copy.
Excellent.
You guys can sign it. I appreciate it.
Yes. Would love to. What was your first name again? Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Tobias Whalen, who has written some cool books, including one on Mothman sightings near Chicago. Very interesting guy. Always love talking to him. I picked up his newest book about Christmas cryptids and strangeness. I love that little girl's reaction. Yeah, and just for the record, before that, I talked briefly to J. Nathan Couch. He's written books. He's written a book on Goatman, kind of taking a deep dive on it. Looks like a really interesting book. I've skimmed it, but I haven't read the whole thing yet. Also, apologies. I'm working with a brand new camera. My other one took a nosedive. I actually filmed a little bit with Geraldine and with the people from the Battletown Witch Festival. But yeah, I'm getting used to the camera and some of the audio, so forgive me for the defects on the new camera. I think it's going to work out, but just got to get used to a couple of little things with it. And again, and here's the gift shop at the Legend at Pope Lick. Check out all the cool shirts, stickers, and other merch that they have. Geraldine was giving her talk. You couldn't even squeeze into the room, and I was glad to see that. I've heard her talk before. She's great. Check out those shirts. Really cool shirts. Just cool stuff here all the way around. And again, these guys are doing a real service. If you're near Louisville at all, you've got to stop here. This place is great. They're doing this festival for free. They've had free movies in the park nights over the last several months. Do what you can to support them. They deserve your support, and they appreciate your support. And if you're into weirdness, you want to see this place stay in business. So please, please, please make a point to go down there and patronize them. They deserve it. Great festival. I really enjoyed this. They had the food truck. Wish I could have stayed longer. We were on a bit of a time crunch and could only stay for a couple of hours. I've seen pictures from later in the night when it got lit up. They had some cool lights. I really wish I could have stuck around all day. They also had kind of an opening Friday before the Saturday main event day, but yeah, so that was the second annual Goatman Festival. Let me know what you think. I really enjoyed it. I picked up several books here and just enjoyed this event. Did you get to go? Let me know what you think if you were able to stop by.